This video is part 3 of solving systems of equations using matrices. This is another problem of how to solve a system using matrices. So here's the new system we're trying to solve. We have 2x minus y equals 8 and x plus 3y equals 11. Again, you technically can solve this graphically using substitution or using elimination, but this section specifically asks you to solve it using a matrix. And again, we're going to be using the graphing calculator in order to help us solve this system. So the first thing we have to do is we have to set up our matrix from the given system of equations. Remember, a matrix is just an array of numbers. Instead of the equal sign, we put a vertical line. And all we're looking at are numbers for this. So we're looking at the coefficients of each of these variables. So my coefficients, again, reading across the row or across the equation, are 2, -1, please don't forget the minus becomes a plus a negative, and there's technically a 1 in front of that y, so we have -1, and then 8 for the first equation. The second equation, the coefficients are 1, 3, and 11. So we have our matrix set up now. So we go to our graphing calculator to enter the matrix. Again, we turn on our calculator and we go to the matrix menu. To get to the matrix menu, it's second matrix. We want to edit the first matrix. Again, as a reminder, when you're entering a matrix, it's row by column. So if you look at the matrix that we created, there are 2 rows and 3 columns. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 2, enter, 3, enter, and then I'm going to enter my coefficients that I came up with. So 2, -1, 8, 1, 3, 11. Once we have our matrix entered into the calculator, we're going to quit out of there. So second mode will quit and take us back to our main screen. Once we're on our main screen, we want to do the reduced row echelon form of this matrix. Remember, in the calculator, that's abbreviated as RREF. But again, this is a matrix, so we're going to choose our matrix menu. So second matrix. The math tab will have all of your stuff you can do to a matrix. We're looking for RREF. Once we're on RREF, we're going to choose it. That puts it on our main screen. And then we need to enter the matrix that we entered our values into, which was matrix A. Again, in order to do that, we go into our matrix menu, and we named matrix A as 2, -1, 8, 1, 3, 11. Make sure you close your parentheses so you're doing the reduced row echelon form just to matrix A. Enter, and it gives us a new matrix. So my new matrix, again, reading across the row, 1, 0, 5, and then 0, 1, 2. As stated before, we put that vertical line in for the equals. The calculator does not put it in, so we need to manually put it in to our matrix. And then we could rewrite a system of equations using these new coefficients. So the first equation is 1x plus 0y equals 5. And my second new equation is 0x plus 1y equals 2. From here, again, we know that there's no y's in the first equation, so I can kind of ignore that. And I know there's no x's in the second equation, so again, I can ignore that. So we know x is equal to 5 and y is equal to 2, but we always write our answers as an ordered pair. Ordered pairs are x comma y, so I have 5 comma 2. I always like to double check that my solution is correct, so I'm going to plug them back into the equations. So wherever I see an x, I'm going to plug in 5. Wherever I see a y, I'm going to plug in 2. 2 times 5 is 10. And then negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. And then 10 plus negative 2 is 8, which is listed. So that ordered pair is good for the first equation, but we always want it okay for both equations. So I plug x, which is 5 in. I plug y, which is 2 in. And then 5 plus 6 is 11, which is what is listed. So I am 100% confident now that 5, 2 is the solution to this system of equations.